I travel through there in the big rig, you know, driving right by it. You see some arches from, you know, a distance, and I'd never been into the Arches National Park, you know, and so that was one of my first adventures on this bike, little road trips. And leaving early in the springtime when it's, you know, fingers are numb and you're not prepared for the cold. Live and learn and realize, man, you're on a bike and you leave early in the morning and it's springtime, it's still cold up the canyons. You get to the summit, and I pulled over like 4 times just trying to warm my fingers because I didn't have warm enough gloves or warm enough socks in my boots. And you live and learn from experiences, and life is what you make of it, right? So this is just interesting, trying to talk and think of things to say to keep people. I'm probably yelling. I know I'm yelling because you have a helmet on and you feel like you have to yell, so I'm going to try not speak too loud. This probably won't even make it out there. It's like I'm going to be yelling at you guys. I think I've heard other motor vloggers and it seems like, yeah, they're yelling loud because they might hear wind in the mic, so they're trying to make themselves be heard. So I only have one battery. I didn't think I was going to be coming this far. I thought I would just stay close, but this is probably a better idea. Get used to talking on the cameras, so I'm not too sidetracked, and I didn't want to be driving around the city. I don't like to do that anyways. I'd rather take small little road trips off where, you know, it's not as busy. You're on a back highway somewhere going to explore a new place. So right now the seat I have on here is the passenger seat. When I bought this bike, it didn't have a passenger pegs. So what I've done, I've ended up buying passenger pegs, you know, because I've taken my niece, a couple nieces here and there, and I don't like to take, you know, kids. I try to stay, you know, off out of the city, but it's hard to do. I just want to let them have, you know, fun, and it's exciting. And so I put on some highway pegs, some engine bars or whatever. They'll put those on. I put this windshield. I bought this windshield. If I would have been, I wish I would have been able to research. All I was researching was Harleys and trying to get the best for a beginner. Just, I don't know. Back then I didn't really want a big old, you know, bagger, and I wanted a bike that I could take up to the twisties and have fun, you know. And it being my first bike, I chose this. I think it was a good choice, but I wish going to places down south, Canyonlands, and there's dirt roads where you can go down, you know, on dirt roads down through Canyonlands. I took my Jeep coming home from Lake Powell when I took a trip down to Lake Powell, kayak camping for 14 days. I went over to east, headed to Moab, and then went to Canyonlands, and there's a road you can take down into Canyonlands. You have to get permission. You're supposed to just go in there and tell them you want to do. I can't remember if you pay $5 or something, $10 to do it, but you know, I wish I would have. My first bike really would have been like a KTM on and off road, so I could have taken it off road. Because I've taken this to places by Goblin Valley, headed to Bullfrog Lake Powell. I've taken down dirt road a ways, and you know, and I've wanted to just keep going down the dirt road, and I can't sit and ride this on a dirt road I was too paranoid popping a tire, you know, and just be stranded out in the middle of nowhere. Because it doesn't have good nubbies, good enough tires, you know, to deal with the dirt road for hours. I've taken it up the Nebo Creek and went hiking up. You go down a dirt road 5 miles, you know, until the end to go where you hike the trails. Go hike up the canyon, and so yeah, I think. And you grow attached to things. In my first bike, I don't know if I would get rid of it. Well, I would if I couldn't make the payments anymore. And just my next bike, I think I would love to get like a KTM on and off, like 1190. What are they? Is it the 1190 KTMs? I think those are harder to come by. Just something on and off road, a dual sport. Even a Kawasaki KLR, man. I've seen those motor vloggers that take those and they go all the way up into Alaska, Puto Bay. Man, that's incredible. They explore all those guys out there that are exploring the whole, you know, world, all these different countries on KLRs and adventure bikes. It just amazes me how people get around and are able to do some of these things. I would name drop, but I'm not good at name dropping, and I don't know, I feel stupid. Yo, I want to name drop this guy's name. I'm weird that way. I don't know, I think I keep to myself. I'm kind of a antisocial. So if you see me anywhere, if this video gets out, if I become a vlogger, I just want to be left alone. I don't want to be famous, trying to get famous off this and be harassed. I don't know how people can get, you know, into being so popular off something just that or video footage and they're talking about it. They're wanting to show their daily rituals, you know, and then they love the attention. There's people, I'm not cut out for that sort of thing. It just not me, man. I don't see myself ever wanting to be, you know, famous, and I would like to have the money of the fame, you know, sure, all that moolah, but I don't want no. Should I go up Fairview Canyon or go to Mount Pleasant, Manti, and back? I was up here just not too long ago. I think I'm going to turn around. The trees. Yeah, what the hell. I'll just keep going up here and see if more color in the trees. I don't know how long this video. I have an extra battery pack on this, so hopefully I can get a couple hours. There might be enough footage. What, like 8? A lot of videos of moto vlogging for my first moto vlog adventure. I'll just try to keep spitting out stories. I get tired of talking. It's hard to think up stuff, but so far I think I'm doing okay for an amateur. So what time is it? Let me see here. 5. I think it might get a little, or if I haul up here, go up to the top and then just come right back, I think I'll be not driving in the dark home. I do spur of the moment activities. I'd come home from being over the road, and you know, you go somewhere, you take a load all the way to South Carolina, and you come back, and I would jump on my motorcycle. When I was doing flatbed truck, I was with a good company, local company, and that's when I, you know, got into this bike. And I'd come home, I'd jump on my bike, and I'd go and see on my days off, like I do at 34, when I come home, my dispatch, they would want me to, you know, go get loaded. Most of the time I would, here's my day off, and they would be like, hey, go get loaded so you can, when you're done with your 34-hour reset, to be legal, to get back on the road, you know, not worry about being illegal, then you're ready to go. So, you know, I'd have to stick around. Once I got this bike, I'm getting a call from her. I'm like, hey, I'm down in Moab right now on my Harley. And I think it pissed them off, and I think it got to the point where they, you know, ran me out of there and, you know, let me go because of that. But I don't know, I think of stuff, I don't want to feel paranoid and think of what I know it could have been an issue. And when I went down to St. George and visited my sister, I just, you know, was on a 34-hour reset, and I jumped on the bike. I took it to St. George. I already got loaded up before I, you know, went down south. I loaded, what was it, cattle gates from Powder River that, you know, go to the farmers and ranches that, and, you know, cattle chutes. So loaded with that, and already, and I jump on my bike, go down to St. George, a few hours down south. You know, it was, when was it? Early spring, or maybe it was in April, or yeah, but you know, it just snowed in Cedar City in the higher elevation. You know, I took some, you know, rain gear, but it was cold, and I ran into a bike group that was from overseas. They had their flag waving on their back of they were cruisers, they all had Harleys, you know, and they were a bike gang and club, or whatever you want to call them, and I pulled off to the rest stop because they were pulled off there. I was pulled off because I was need to, you know, maybe warm up my hands, and because it was pretty cold for that time of year, and they had been to Utah before and seen national parks, and we're just back, and they're like, is this normal weather? You know, so I don't know, Utah's weird. It can be weird like that. So yeah, it's a beautiful state, and I used to take it for granted when I was young. I just was, you know, wanting to grow up in California where I was born and be, you know, a surf bum, and it just seemed like it was, I loved the palm trees, and I just loved it better for me. I liked it better in Utah when I was a kid, and it was frustrating. I was just like, I hate it here. But now, no, I would never take it for granted at my age now, and I love it to death. I think it's one of the most beautiful states, and I've never been to Alaska. I've just been to the lower 48, and I've been through the Smoky Mountains, and just how many different areas that Utah has to offer, of the way it, you know, looks so much different in other areas of the state. It has a lot to offer, and it's incredible. And it reminds me a lot of Alaska. I see Alaska, you know, on TV, and it's just mountains, and when it's snowing, it's similar looking in ways. right? Hello. Blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, this is a gorgeous canyon. I would come up here when I was a kid, young kid, when I first got into snowboarding. You know, it was still too much money when you're young to spend it 40-50 bucks at the resort, you know, when you'd want to go. So we'd spend, I don't know, what was 25 bucks in gas to come down here, come up this canyon, have a few people, and there'd be one driver. You drop off at the top and then just go down. It's nothing like resort, you know, like good steeper, bigger mountains, but it's still, you know, you'd get your fix from boarding. You could still get the feeling. So there's a little insight. I'm just having a blast. I hope you guys are. This is incredible up here. Well, still haven't changed all the way. The yellow, man. I thought, look, there's still a lot of green up in there. Thought they'd be changed more. I hope I'm doing good for you guys. I want to please someone. So when I was driving over the road, I'd just get on my phone and I'd film if I'm going through areas, you know, over bridges, and you know, there's a scenery type deal. I'd just blast music and I'd film videos, and then I would just send it right to Gmail, you know, the Google Plus, yeah, G Plus. Yeah, I used to do that, and I constantly was sending little videos, and you know, of areas that I'd be traveling, and I would look at the views, and it seemed like a lot of people were looking at like it was reaching out to people, but no one, I never had anyone ask me, you know, oh wow, that was a big dip, big huge crappy part of the road, indentation, sunken in hole, freaking, that was horrible.